Good evening, afternoon, and good night, wherever you're from. Today we're going to be watching a video called 10 Strangest Weather Events in US History. If you're new here, my name is Adam. Nice to meet you. Give me some love with the thumb. Like, subscribe. Let's do this.
Number 10, coldest day. Throughout 2019, the Midwest United States experienced some extremely chilly temperatures, with places like Detroit experiencing minus 14-degree weather, Milwaukee dropping to 21 below zero, and Chicago somehow surviving negative 23 degrees Fahrenheit.
Minus 23. Like, I'll probably never ever experience that, right? So here's what I want you guys to do. Go into the comments box down below right now and try and explain to me how it feels to be in that type of weather. Like, the coldest I've ever experienced is maybe like -1. So please do your best to go down below and explain what it feels like.
In comparison to the history of the US, though, these temperatures are far from the worst experienced by Americans. The coldest day ever recorded on US soil was January 23, 1971, when the people of Prospect Creek, Alaska, endured a terrifying temperature of minus 80 degrees. When it comes to the lower 48 states, the coldest day came on January 20th, 1954, when Rogers Pass, Montana dropped to 70 degrees below zero. Number 9. Locust plague. Being a Midwest farmer in the late 19th...
Hold on. We're about to talk about locusts. You can't just go from minus 80 to bloody locusts. Hold on. Minus 80? How do your fucking eyeballs not just turn into ice? That's the type of weather I go outside, take a pee. Sometimes you need to pee outside. Don't ask questions. It's a metaphor. It's an example. As soon as the urine comes out of the tip, that's just going to be ice, right?
It dropped to 70 degrees below zero. Number 9. Locust plague. Being a Midwest farmer in the late 19th century had its fair share of obstacles. No modern machinery to work with, fickle soil and weather conditions, and most likely way more physical labor than most people could handle on a daily basis. So imagine how much worse it got for American farmers in 1874 when a swarm of locusts blanketed the sky before diving down on their crops. These insects rained down on the Midwest in droves, with historians estimating their number to be anywhere between 124 billion to 12.5 trillion.
Where the hell are we getting 12.5 trillion locusts from? Where do they live? What the absolute shit? That is bonkers. I can't lie. That's insane.
As they cut a path nearly 1,800 miles long and 110 miles wide, these pesky bugs devoured everything from sugar-concentrated crops to wooden tools, leather accessories, and even clothes right off the backs of bystanders. Their impromptu invasion...
They were taking the clothes off people. What, like they were eating them? I'm trying to wrap my head around a swarm of locusts that's 1,800 miles long. Can I just listen to that again? Is that what he said? They cut a pathway nearly 1,800 miles long and 110 miles wide. Alexa, how wide is the island of Ireland?
From travelaroundireland.com. The width of Ireland is 275 kilometers from east to west, or 171 miles.
From east to west, 171 miles. These locusts were 1,800 miles long. That's like 18 Irelands. Is my miles right? What? Surely not.
These pesky bugs devoured everything from sugar-concentrated crops to wooden tools, leather accessories, and even clothes right off the backs of bystanders. Their impromptu invasion ended up causing many families to suffer and even perish as starvation became a hazard to those in the area that would become the Dust Bowl. While farm animals like chickens did their part in eliminating the pest by simply eating them, the danger of locust invasion didn't pass until the Rocky Mountain grasshopper went extinct at the turn of the century. Number 8. Black Sunday. Speaking of the Dust Bowl, the dust-swept and drought-ridden region of the Midwest began its desolate transformation one fateful day, now referred to as Black Sunday.
Oh dear.
On April 14, 1935, a storm fell on the prairies of the Midwest, beginning in Oklahoma and Texas. Starting at 4 p.m., winds clocking in at 60 miles per hour swept along the plains, forming a black cloudy wall as they hurtled on. This effect came from loose dirt in the arid region, twisting and obstructing the vision of those who witnessed the storm. Reports at the time believed the anomaly to signal the end of days, as the blinding dust storm kept those outside from being able to see their hand in front of their face.
That's
the weather
scary,
event
man.
blinded one man and had fatal consequences for small animals like birds and rodents as it rose thousands of feet into the air and stretched for hundreds of miles. This frightening phenomenon went on to inspire Congress to pass the Soil Conservation Act by the end of the year in hopes of avoiding such an occurrence from happening again. Number 7.
Crazy.
Satan's Storm. On June 15, 1960, the residents of Copperell, Texas
Satan
began their
storm?
morning as normal with a typical early temperature of just around 70 degrees
I ain't gonna lie, man. If I turn on the news, if I lived in Texas and I turned on the news on the TV and there's somebody talking about Satan's storm, yeah, I'm going back to bed, man.
Fahrenheit. But in mere
That was
minutes, the
1960s,
warm
they
desert
probably
air
didn't
rose
have
to an
news then, did they?
unbearable 100 degrees Fahrenheit out of nowhere. The sudden skyrocket in heat caused thermometers to burst, according to anecdotal accounts. People experienced power failures
Sorry.
and false alarms. 100 degrees
What
Fahrenheit
is that
out of nowhere.
Celsius?
The sudden skyrocket in heat caused thermometers to burst.
That's like 38 degrees
According
Celsius.
to anecdotal accounts, people experienced power failures and false alarms as they awoke thinking something must be on fire. The National Weather Service unofficially reports that the temperature continued rising until it topped out at 140 degrees Fahrenheit and remained there for 3 hours straight.
140 degrees Fahrenheit for 3 hours. What am I hearing? Alexa, what is 140 degrees?
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Either am I. Alexa, what is 140 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius?
140 degrees Fahrenheit is 60 degrees Celsius.
Oh my God, can you imagine being in 60 degrees Celsius heat for 3 hours?
Eventually, the heat subsided,
Jesus.
leaving farmers to investigate the level of damage wrought by the sudden heat wave. In its wake, people found that some cattle perished under the infernal sun,
That's so
while
sad,
corn and
man.
cotton cooked off the crop, ruining entire fields of vegetation. This event earned the name of Satan's Storm during its time. But today, we know the extreme switch in temperature to be a heat burst. These are caused from a thunderstorm rising and being pushed back down to the surface, leading the air below to become compressed and extremely hot. Number 6, tornado tantrums.
Jesus!
Tornadoes plague the Midwest almost annually, and at times more than one can touch down in a given place. But on April 3rd and April 4th in 1974, a flood of tornadoes spread across multiple states in the Ohio Valley, causing over $1 billion, adjusted for inflation, in damage, and claiming the lives of 335 people in the
Oh my
process.
God, that is
An astounding
wild.
148 twisters tore into the U.S., with some reaching
Over
a
2
circumference
days.
of 5 miles wide. Then again in 2011, from April 25 to April 28, another flurry
Wait,
of
100. Wait a minute. Wait, whoa. 148 twisters over 2 days. Jesus.
tore into the U.S., with some reaching a circumference of 5 miles wide.
Wild.
Then again in 2011, from April 25 to April 28, another flurry of tornadoes ravaged America, hitting as far north as Pennsylvania and New York, and reaching down to the deep south, as warm air at the ground level collided with the colder
Look at
airs
that,
above,
man.
and atmospheric wind shears
That's
moved
cool,
in.
though,
These
innit?
catastrophic disasters left their mark on populated areas repeatedly throughout the 3-day span. This time, 349 twisters took the lives of over 300 people and caused $10.8 billion in damage.
There's something I've never really thought about whenever it comes to like tornadoes and stuff. And it's like, I've done a few videos on tornadoes and it's always insane to see how much damage they leave. But there's one thing I've never really thought about, and it's people losing their home. Like homes they've grew up in, homes that their family have lived in for generations. Going like that. That must be heartbreaking. Jesus.
Number 5, Dark Day. In the 18th century, meteorology wasn't anywhere near as exact or capable of explaining weather-related phenomena the way it is today. So it's no wonder that accounts of the day when the sky went dark on May 19, 1780 are so superstitious and foreboding. Following right on the tail end of the American
1780.
Revolution, the newly founded nation was already tense. So when the sun turned red, black rain fell from the sky carrying the scent of coal fire, and the population had to rely on candlelight in the middle of the day to see, you can understand how frightened Americans might have felt.
Like, do you ever think some of these stories are just complete bullshit? Why? I mean, it happened one day in 1780. Why has it never ever happened again? Ever? He just said black rain. I mean,
Rather than any sort of Armageddon or Judgment Day, this scary ordeal can be attributed to a forest fire in the Ontario forest. The origin of the legendary Dark Day in New England wasn't discovered until 2007, when forestry experts out of the University of Missouri discovered fire scars in the woods of Ontario
it was a fire. That makes sense. Okay.
corresponding to that date. Number 4,
My bad.
raining fish. We've all heard the saying, it's raining cats and dogs. But in 1947, the age-old phrase became reality,
What?
with a bit of an aquatic twist. As the population of Marksville, Louisiana left their homes on October 23rd that year, no forecast could have prepared them for the downpour that was to come. According to the Library of Congress, inhabitants of the
Fish.
southern town experienced a torrential shower that brought not only raindrops, but several fish as well. These accounts weren't the hoax they might seem to be, as the meteorological phenomenon known as raining animals has occurred many times across the planet and throughout history.
Sharknado.
Flightless creatures like spiders, frogs, octopus, and even jellyfish
God
have been
damn.
reported from China to Honduras over the last 2 centuries. While the cause of such an event has never been witnessed, the prevailing theory as to what causes such groups of animals to be displaced attribute the phenomena to waterspouts and updrafts. Waterspouts are the weaker of the two hypothesized sources, as the
tornado.
water-based tornadoes
Water-based
capable
tornado.
of flinging objects along the water at high speeds fail to suck up anything in their path. Updrafts, on the other hand, are strong winds that could more feasibly sweep up entire communities of animals before sending them plummeting to the earth below. The last accounts of raining animals in the U.S. took place in 2007, as worms rained onto Jennings, Louisiana. And in
Worms!
September
I
2016...
ain't gonna lie, man. I feel like if that happened in real life to me, it'd be one of those moments where you think to yourself, am I in a coma? Or am I on have I took some magic mushrooms or something? There's no way you'd think you're living in reality if you looked up and there was fucking cod coming down everywhere. Frogs, cod, salmons, worms.
And again in May of 2017, when fish drizzled down into Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Oroville, California, respectively. Number 3,
What the-
soil cyclone. Tropical cyclones form on the coast of the United States with semi-regularity, fueled by the heat energy they gather from the warmth of the ocean. As they move inward towards land and leave the ocean energy behind, they typically dissipate, and the thunderstorm that trails them overhead will disperse and fizzle away. But recently, studies have shown that not all cyclones fall apart so quickly, a point proven in 2007 with Tropical
Soil.
Storm Erin. As the cyclone entered Texas that August, it infiltrated the Lone Star State with wind speeds measuring a measly 40 miles per hour. However, within 3 days, the tropical storm continued to flourish, growing surprisingly strong by the time it reached Oklahoma. In fact, it more than doubled in wind speed from the time it touched land, and even eclipsed the strength of the cyclone at its peak while over the Gulf of Mexico. But how could such an anomaly be possible if no water warmth was present to keep the cyclone swirling? Moist soil, as new discoveries have shown, can substitute for ocean water if
What?
breached at the right temperature and hydration levels. Referred to as the brown ocean effect, this abnormality gave Tropical Storm Erin a longer
That's
life than
crazy.
meteorologists could have ever predicted at the time. Number 2. Fire tornado.
God damn.
During the Car Fire event of 2018, one of the most terrifying weather anomalies of U.S. history occurred when the largest fire tornado ever recorded took shape.
Sure.
Wildfires are all too common
Surely
in the Golden
not.
State, but this specific fire was so massive, the resulting gases formed a pyrocumulus cloud above the raging inferno. This fire-crafted thunderstorm helped turn a commonly known fire whirl, which were thought to hit a maximum speed of 90 miles per hour,
Is there a
into a
photo of it?
monstrous cyclone of cinder and ash. As the flames blazed on, winds within the tornado reached a speed of 143 miles per hour, rewriting the capabilities and hazards of such natural disasters. This incident was one of only 2 F3 tornadoes ever recorded in California.
Surely there's a
the
video.
other 2 spawning from
my
a fiery
God.
event in 1926. Due to the size and severity of this one, and the fact that it claimed 1 casualty, this fire tornado is one of the most monumental weather events of all
That's
time.
insane.
Number
That's
1,
terrifying.
Summerless Year. Also known as the Poverty Year, 1816 was the year without a summer, when temperatures all across the northern hemisphere remained frigid year-round, even through July and August. New England reported record-late snowfalls, experiencing heavy weather as late as June 11th. In the south, cities like
What?
Savannah, Georgia only reached 46 degrees Fahrenheit on the 4th of July. Much of the U.S. experienced a drought that same year in early fall, and winter weather started right back up by September. This freezing year was the result of an eruption in 1815 from Indonesia's Tambora volcano halfway around the world.
What?
The ash and dust of the eruption filled the stratosphere for the next year, blocking sunlight across the northern hemisphere, which ended up cooling that portion of the planet.
See that sort of stuff. That is insane to me. The fact that something can happen on the other side of the planet, go up into the stratosphere, kind of do its thing up there, and then cause absolute havoc somewhere else a year later on the other side of the planet. Like, that is insane. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, what I learned from this video is that there are a lot of locusts on this planet. Speaking of locusts, I stream on Twitch and I'm probably live right now. So if you want to come and say hello, come on in. Join the community. If you're wondering what Twitch is, or you're not quite sure, it's a live stream service. Why? Just do this. We react to some videos. We talk. It's fun. If it interests you and tickles your pickle, there's a... Shouldn't have said that. There's a link. There's a link. Pinned comment. Check it out. Good God.